Hello everybody and welcome to the 9th round of the 1993 season for the British Grand Prix here on F1 Challenge. We head to the legendary Silverstone circuit for our second home race of the season, where we'll be hoping to put on a good performance for the local supporters. If you missed the last episode at the French Grand Prix, make sure to go and check that one out before watching this one, as it was the team's home Grand Prix. Going into this round, Damon Hill leads the championship by 8 points ahead of his Williams teammate Alain Prost. Meanwhile, Michael Schumacher draws level with the McLaren of Ayrton Senna for third, following 2 consecutive retirements for the Brazilian. No changes for us, however, as we still reside in 15th in the championship. Williams have a strong cushion ahead of now second place Benetton, who move ahead of McLaren in the constructors. Larrousse still sit in 9th, level on points with Sauber. The goals for this race weekend are as high as they've ever been, with a top 15 in qualifying expected and a top 8 finish in the race. Now, let's head into the news of the week. Hello and welcome to the British edition of the News of the Week, where the footwork driver Derek Warwick has announced that he will retire at the end of the current Formula 1 season. He has had a tumultuous season so far with no points against his name in this campaign, and he'll be hoping to put on a good show in what will be his final home Grand Prix. Fabrizio Barbazza is out at Minardi and Emmanuel Naspetti takes his place. The 30-year-old Italian has struggled against teammate Christian Fittipaldi, finding himself easily second best to the Brazilian. Team boss Giancarlo Minardi thought it was time for, quote, a change, as Fabrizio was not cutting it. Naspetti, who last drove in Formula 1 at the back end of last season, will be hoping to put his name on the map. We have received 2 contract offers going into this round, one being a 1-year extension deal with Larrousse as the team's first driver. A very interesting idea if we want to stay with the team and try and build them up into a reliably midfield car. Our other contract offer comes from Tyrrell with a 2-year deal to be their first driver. While Tyrrell aren't quite performing to a high standard as of late, maybe this new regulation change coming in for 1994 could be something that gets them back near the front of the field. We will once again keep these contract offers open alongside the footwork one for you guys to decide on at the end of the year. Onto the upgrades now, where Williams proceed to stretch their legs with another upgrade fetching a drag reduction update with a sleeker body design. This should help them down the massive straights around the Silverstone circuit. McLaren, on the hunt to reclaim second in the constructors, have gone a different way with their development. A new front wing should help them through the technical final sector, as well as greatly improving performance through the high-speed nature of Sector 1's high downforce requirements. Sauber have also fetched a new front wing in hopes of grabbing their first point since the opening round in Kyalami. Sticking with Sauber, Ilmor and Mercedes have developed a new engine for the Silverstone round, with the new power unit expected to output more than 730 horsepower. Lotus introduces an upgrade package for their home Grand Prix, with efforts to reduce drag all around the car. This should make them quite a tough opponent in a straight line, with such a major development allowing them to reach some seriously high top speeds. Tyrrell fetches a lighter chassis allowing for better rotation in slow corners. Meanwhile, Scuderia Italia will also be looking to get off the foot of the table in qualifying and race sessions, with new front wings reducing their overall drag. That's all for the news of the week. Now let's head into qualifying. Hello everybody and welcome to qualifying day for the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. We had a little break away from this series, but we are now back and running once again. We've gone out about 10 to 15 minutes after the session has started, and as you can see, there's a slight amount of spray on the track as it was raining just before the session started. As you can see as well, Ayrton Senna currently holding down pole position. The Brazilian has really struggled with performances as of late, retiring in the past 2 rounds. As you can see there, we're just trying to build up the confidence as of late, because I haven't had that much practice in terms of driving this car. I only did a couple of laps before starting to record this. As you can see, 3 seconds down. Surely that line through turn 1 wouldn't have helped, where I absolutely mullered the curbs. But we are, like I say, just gaining confidence in the car and just getting back up to speed once again. Schumacher's now on pole position as we start our second run. We're only doing single lap runs this time because the rev limit is so high for such a long period of the track because of the long straights. We only do 1 lap per run, so we're doing 4 runs instead of the usual 3. A 20.5, that's a very decent improvement, almost a second worth of improvement. But we're only in 21st place still, and as I looked on the timings, it's once again very close in that lower midfield where only a couple of tenths could take you up about 3 or 4 positions. So we're trying everything that we can to get any sort of advantage by, for example, as you can see here, trying to get the slipstream off the Williams as we head in towards turn 1. However, once again, hitting that curb when you kind of don't need to be. We are half a tenth up through the first sector. Coming through the second sector, the bridge corner, absolutely terrifying. And we're up by 2 tenths, heading towards the final straight. And we improved by 2 tenths of a second. As you can see there, 2 tenths of a second takes us up 3 places. So it was a very minor amount of improvement, but it took us up quite a number of positions as we now begin my final lap in the qualifying session. Once again, only a minor improvement, but it took us up another couple of positions. 17th place is not a bad place to start as we now head into the race. It's race day for the 1993 British Grand Prix, and for the second time this season, Michael Schumacher is on pole position in the Benetton. He starts 1/10 ahead of Alain Prost, who completes the front row. Ayrton Senna completes the top 3, just missing out on the front row by a couple of hundredths of a second. Martin Brundle, there with a brilliant qualifying time, slots his Ligier in 4th ahead of the championship leader of Damon Hill in 5th. A very poor qualifying from him, all things considered. Riccardo Patrese in the second Benetton starts 6th ahead of a great qualifying from Johnny Herbert in the Lotus, out-qualifying both Ferraris. He starts 7th ahead of Berger, Blundell and Alesi, who complete the top 10. Carl Wendlinger and Jyrki Jarvelato make it an all-Sauber 6th row, with Rubens Barrichello and Christian Fittipaldi making it an all-Brazilian 7th row. Alessandro Zanardi starts off from 15th ahead of the two Larousses of Felipe Alio and myself, starting in 17th ahead of the second Jordan of Eddie Irvine. A very poor qualifying from him, as well as Michael Andretti, only 19th fastest in the McLaren. Emmanuel Naspetti in his first race of the season starts in the top 20 ahead of the two footworks of a Suzuki and Warwick. The two Tyrrells of Katayama and Cesaris are up next, followed by the two Scuderia Italias of Berdoa and Capelli. We're doing a one-stop strategy in today's race, going to lap 31 and then stopping for a 28-lap stint at the end to complete a 59-lap race. As we now await the lights, 26 drivers getting ready to start the 1993 British Grand Prix. The lights are green and there's racing to be seen. It's a fairly poor start for us, but there's a bit of contact up ahead and it's allowed us to gain a few positions as we head in towards turn 1 ahead of Christian Fittipaldi, who's on our left side. He sweeps us straight round the outside. A great move there from the Brazilian, and he pulls ahead back up into 14th place. So we have gained 2 places off that start. Alessandro Zanardi also looking pretty anxious to try and get past us into the Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel section. We'll try and get round the outside of Christian Fittipaldi, but there's no chance that we're getting round there without an absolute godly run. Anyway, as we head towards the Stowe corner for the first time, Alessandro Zanardi trying to look round our outside there as we head into the first right-hander. I can already tell that we are very far down on straight line speed. But as we all concertina up through the club chicane, there's Alessandro Zanardi, a very opportunistic move down the inside for the Italian. We'll get straight back through in the second part of the chicane and we'll back up into 15th place. But we need to try and hold the Italian off now as we go into the bridge corner through the Abbey Kink. And going through bridge, we keep the place for now. So it's been a fairly decent start for us, as there's Fittipaldi trying to get past one of the Saubers. Alain Prost, meanwhile, leads the way. He leads ahead of Michael Schumacher. The pole sitter has fallen down the order already. Martin Brundle in the Ligier. A great start from him. He's in third ahead of the McLaren of Ayrton Senna. Riccardo Patrese is in 5th place, with championship leader Damon Hill completing the top 6. Coming on to lap 2 now, as you can see that Christian Fittipaldi is all over that Sauber. I think it's of Jyrki Arboleto ahead, and he's trying to put a move anywhere that he can. Looking up the inside into the club chicane, there's a bit of contact between the two of them. Oh, and that's contact between me and Fittipaldi. Luckily, the two of us have kept it pointed in the correct direction, but that was a very strange incident. I'm not sure why Fittipaldi just lost so much momentum from that, really. I was kind of just expecting him to just start pulling away. He just didn't do so. I do try and let him back past if that was my fault, but as you can see here, he does not take the place. So yeah, we're up another position, I guess. We're up into 14th, but we've now got a 3-second chasm to Jyrki Arboleto ahead in that 13th position. But you can see at the end of lap 3, we are starting to close in the gap once again to Jyrki Arboleto. It was a very good lap on that last tour around the circuit. We gained about 7/10 of a second on the fin through that lap. So yeah, it was a very, very, very good lap. But as you can see right behind, we've got Christian Fittipaldi looming in the mirrors. So clearly it might be the fact that myself and Leto are on a heavier fuel load compared to the cars behind, as we now see that Christian Fittipaldi's once again got a run down the start-finish straight. Will he put a move down the inside into the Copse corner? He's not quite got the momentum to draw alongside. It would keep the place for now. And that's Karl Wendlinger. Another problem for the Austrian. It's been a horrid season for Karl Wendlinger. His 7th retirement in 9 races so far this season. And he was running fairly close to the points as well, so clearly that Sauber car is working wonders with its new upgrade package. But he'll be the first retirement of this Grand Prix. Once again, still trying to hold off Christian Fittipaldi, and the longer we hold him off, the better off we will be. As that's Rubens Barrichello off in the left side. Wonder what's happened there. That's Karl Wendlinger ahead. Barrichello's gone for a move into the bridge corner. That's a very desperate move, especially against a car that's going to retire at the end of the lap, and it's a rookie mistake there from Rubens Barrichello, and he's going to lose a whole host of positions. He's going to fall down to maybe just outside the top 20 there, as we now catch onto the back of lap 6, and Leto's kind of been held by his teammate, as there's not really an overtaking opportunity, through that section. But oh, Aguru Suzuki and Rubens Barrichello have crashed together. So Barrichello's had more unfortunate problems, I guess. Yep, that works. You saw there that Barrichello had a massive tank slapper again through... oh, that's a very interesting crash, a very clumsy crash between the two of them, whether it was Barrichello cutting across Aguri Suzuki or whether it was a Suzuki dive bomb that was just unwarranted. That's up for interpretation, really. As I was saying, Barrichello very nearly spun it through the bridge corner there, so maybe Barrichello had a car problem following that spin, or maybe it was just a loss of confidence in the Brazilian, who knows. But either way, Barrichello is out and Suzuki will require a new front wing, and the two of those will have those races essentially ruined already. Christian Fittipaldi once again still trying to get past us into some interesting places, and this run is the best chance that Fittipaldi's had all race so far. He's gaining in towards turn 1. He's not quite got alongside, but he's carried the momentum through turn 1. Look at the straight line speed of that Minardi, and he's going to pull alongside as we head into Maggots and Beckett's, and Christian Fittipaldi has made his way through up into 12th place. And that's a great move there from Fittipaldi. We tried holding the momentum through the Chapel corner, but as you can see, the straight line speed of Fittipaldi, and especially Irvine now, who's challenging us down in towards the inside of the Stowe corner. We try and hold it round the outside of the Ulsterman. We do keep that place for now, but we are certainly falling under quite a bit of pressure from cars behind. Eddie Irvine once again later on in the lap 11, scythes it down the inside into the bridge corner, and he's really putting the pressure on me now. Looking for a move into Woodcut, I think that corner is, and he's sold as a dummy there. We've gone deep through the final corner, and as such, Eddie Irvine's up into 13th place. I feel like Fittipaldi and Irvine are on heavier fuel loads, so it doesn't really matter all too much to me, because they're kind of not our race for now. But yeah, we were really sold a dummy there by Eddie Irvine. And as you can hear, Jordan are ready in the pits just a couple of laps later, and they've not pulled away because Yuki Arvoleto have kept them at bay. And Eddie Irvine there, a very forceful move on Christian Fittipaldi just before he goes into the pit lane. So that overtake essentially meant nothing for anyone involved, really. And that's allowed us to get all over the back of Christian Fittipaldi. But obviously, with the straight line speed deficit that we've got, it's just very difficult to make any form of an overtake, essentially. And as I suspected, lap 17, Christian Fittipaldi is in. So maybe Fittipaldi and Irvine are both on 3 stops, which if that's the case, then we are... Oh, well, that's Ayrton Senna. Another rotten retirement for Ayrton Senna. Suspension problems for the Brazilian, and he is out of this race. It's almost certain now that he will not be challenging for this championship title. There he goes, pulling off to the side of the road. I believe he was in second position at the time, but he's no longer second position. He's parked on the side of the road. Lap 24, and Yuki Arvoleto boxes for his first stop of the race. He could be on a 1 stop, maybe, but you'd need to stretch the that stint quite far, as we hear that Alain Prost is into the box for the first time as we pass Ayrton Senna's McLaren to get ourselves into the top 10, I believe. So this race has gone well for us so far. Lap 24, and as you can see, Alain Prost boxes from the lead. He managed to pull out quite a substantial gap ahead of Michael Schumacher in that opening stint. And as such, it'll be interesting to see where he comes out in comparison to the German. There is Michael Schumacher, and Alain Prost nearly gained a full pit stops advantage ahead of the young German. Still, the Benetton driver takes the lead of the race. As you can see in the top left, lap by lap, we are slowly being reeled in by Alessandro Zanardi. The gap was 5.1 over the line at the end of lap 24. It's going to be 4.0, maybe even 3.9. So that's a second that we've just lost on that lap. Once again, coming across the line It's almost another full second to Alessandro Zanardi as we now see Johnny Herbert's into the box for his first stop of the race. So we're up into 9th position. But yeah, we are suddenly just starting to drop a load of pace to the cars around us. Lap 27, we see Jean Lacey into the box for Ferrari. Will we get ahead of the French Sicilian driver? I think we will, just about. Yes, we will. So we are up into 8th place now, although we are over a minute behind the lead almost. Oh, and that's an engine failure! An engine failure! At the British Grand Prix, our home race, and that is going to put paid to the end of our race, the first mechanical retirement of our entire career, and it's come at possibly the worst venue it can happen, your home Grand Prix, and we are out of this race. Engine problems for the Larrousse car, as we now see at the halfway point of the race. Michael Schumacher, yet to stop, leads the race ahead of Alain Prost in 2nd position. Martin Brundle currently having a great race today. He's in 3rd place ahead of the 2nd Benetton of Riccardo Patrese. Gerhard Berger running in 5th, with the 6th place man being Damon Hill. He's really not had a good race so far, as we now see on the end of lap 30. That's Riccardo Patrese and Gerhard Berger both boxing at the end of the lap, so that puts Damon Hill up into 4th place, and now we've got a pit stop battle between the Ferrari and Benetton crews, the 2 biggest Italian teams in the sport. We'll see who comes out on top. Will it be the Scuderia, or will it be the clothing company? Coming out of the pits, who is it first? It's Gerhard Berger. That's a great stop on the Ferrari crew, and they've managed to jump Riccardo Patrese in the pit stops, and that should be Gerhard Berger out in 6th position, I believe. Coming out the pit lane, there's the gap. It's about a second, and that is indeed for 6th position. Lap 34, and Michael Schumacher is in for what I believe is his one and only stop in this race. He's had a great race so far. He could be in contention for victory, especially with Alain Prost requiring more pit stops than the German. And obviously, as such, Alain Prost takes the lead of the British Grand Prix once more. Michael Schumacher now coming out of the pit lane. And where will this put the German? It will put him out just ahead of, I believe, the Ligier of Martin Brundle. It is. So Michael Schumacher's rejoined in 2nd place. As on lap 35, we see Johnny Herbert. He's having a great race so far, just outside the points. But it's all going to come to an end for Johnny Herbert. Brake problems into Stowe Corner, and that's going to mark the end of the Britain's home race. Martin Brundle, lap 36, is into the box for his, I believe, also his one and only stop in this Grand Prix. He's having a great race so far. He's not scored a podium so far this season, and yet this race seems the most likely chance that he's going to have of scoring such a result. And there is Damon Hill. He's absolutely miles behind, and he should come out easily in 3rd place. Lap 37, and Alain Prost is following a Tyrrell into the pit lane. Into the box for his 2nd pit stop of the race. Could do 3 stops in this race. And why is there a Tyrrell in the Williams pit box? I don't know why that's happened. Maybe some sort of game glitch. But Alain Prost isn't moving. And Alain Prost is out of the race. Alain Prost is out. Michael Schumacher takes the lead. That's an absolute gift for Michael Schumacher. He now takes the lead of the race, and he's looking dead set now to win his first Grand Prix of the season, and the first non-Williams win since the first round in South Africa. Katayama putting pressure on Derek Warwick for 15th in this race. And off goes Warwick in a similar vein to Johnny Herbert. It seems like another brake problem for another driver at the Stowe Corner, and he is out of the race. Lap 44, and Damon Hill boxes for what should be the final time in this Grand Prix. I don't know how many stops he's done. I would assume he's done 3 stops since he's on lap 44 boxing so late on in this race. We'll see what the Williams pit crew have managed to muster up in terms of a track rejoin position for Damon Hill, the championship leader, of course. With his teammate out the race, that means that barring also a retirement for Damon Hill, it should mean that Damon takes an even bigger lead in the championship, as we saw that Damon Hill came out ahead of Riccardo Patrese, on board now with Christian Fittipaldi lap 46, and a suspension problem puts the end to a very promising race for the Minardi driver. Mark Blundell on lap 48 also runs into problems, a brake problem into the third sector, and he is out of the race, retiring from just outside the points. So it's been a very terrible day. Unless your name is Martin Brundle, it's been a very terrible day for all the British drivers involved. As we now see, Aguri Suzuki's just passed Mark Blundell's stricken Ligier, but he won't get much further either. A problem for Aguri Suzuki as well on the exact same lap, and he is also out of this Grand Prix. Meanwhile, rounding the final corner for the final time, it's been an absolute dominant performance from Michael Schumacher following the retirement of Alain Prost. He rounds that final corner and he wins the 1993 British Grand Prix. A great result for Michael. So then Michael Schumacher claims his first victory of the season and the first non-Williams victory since the opening round of the season in Kyalami. Martin Brundle with his first podium of the season at his home Grand Prix. A great result for him. Damon Hill ended up claiming a very fortunate podium following many retirements ahead of him. Riccardo Patrese, Jean Lacey and Gerhard Berger complete the points. Alessandro Zanardi just missing out on his second point score of the year. Yuki Arvoleto, Filipe Alio and Emmanuel Naspetti, a very underrated drive from him to complete the top 10. Michael Andretti and Eddie Irvine not having such good races. They just finished outside the top 10 ahead of the two Tyrrells of Katayama and De Cesaris and the two Scuderia Italias of Berdoa and Capelli. 16 finished, 10 retired. Suzuki, Blundell, Fittipaldi, Warwick, Alain Prost, a big name in that list, as well as Johnny Herbert, Ayrton Senna, Barrichello, Wendlinger, and of course myself with our first mechanical retirement of the season. What does this mean then for the Drivers' Championship? It means that Damon Hill, despite a very poor race from him, extends his championship lead with 7 rounds to go to 12 points ahead of his teammate. Michael Schumacher stretches to 10 points ahead of Ayrton Senna in that battle for third in the Drivers' Championship following his first win of the season. More points for Gerhard Berger solidifies his place in the top 5, with Martin Brundle jumping all the way up into 7th ahead of the likes of Jean Lacey and Riccardo Patrese. For us, we remain in 15th in the championship, no change for us, although Filipe Alio is passed by Alessandro Zanardi in the championship. No changes in the constructors, but Williams reached that 100-point mark, 60 ahead of Benetton, who are on 40 points. Another terrible race for McLaren has seen them fall under pressure from Ferrari and Ligier, and there could be a chance where McLaren end up finishing 5th in the constructors by the end of the season. Footwork, Tyrrell and Scuderia Italia, all teams yet to score. Thank you everybody for watching the British Grand Prix. We are finally back doing this series. Also apologies for the commentary as well. The hay fever's not treating me well and I sound quite nasally today, so that'll be the reason why I sound a little bit different. If you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe, as the next race of the season is the German Grand Prix at the Old Hockenheimring. Until next time though, goodbye.